Welcome everyone on What's New and Planned for Intercompany Insights webinar. My name is Michał Zdanovic. I'm a product development manager at IT Integra, responsible for the development of the master data management system, advanced intercompany insights, and the bonuses and accruals application. Today we are going to talk about the Intercompany Insights, so that one of the product from the global integration apps family. What's planned for today? What is the agenda? We'll start with what's new. So basically the features we delivered in a recent months, and that will be the major part of this presentation. Then a few words about what's planned in the future in the following months, and at the end Q&A session. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them on the chat. I'll try to answer them at the end of the webinar. Okay, so we'll talk about the changes from January 1st, 2024 till September 1st, 2024. Versions from 2.4.5 till 2.6.2, which is the current version of the application. We'll start with the adjustment changes in the user interface. We want all of our apps to be easy to configure and very intuitive to use. So we'll start in similar way like we were discussing the changes in the master data management system 2 days ago. So we'll start with the ICI setup. So the goal was to make it more intuitive. To do this, we decided to introduce two actors, two sides of the intercompany data, the data partners, so data sharing company and data requesting company. So we have split the fields to two groups, so it's more intuitive where what should be set up. Moreover, to make it also easier for the endpoint configuration for the future, we have put the current company API endpoint directly in the ICI setup, because previously you needed to go to the web services, find the proper object, and then to copy the web service address from there. Right now, in the newest version of the app, you can just go to the settings in the data sharing company, copy the endpoint, and paste it in the data requesting company endpoint definition. Moreover, we have marked the field items per message limit as pending obsolete. So this field will be removed in the future. I will tell you more about obsoleting this field and actually part of the functionality later on, because we decided to change the communication method for the application. So this field basically was telling how many records should be asked for the availability data. So you could limit the size of the web service call. This field now will be obsoleted and removed in the future. Then in the data requesting company first tab, we added new field. It's called requested items filter. Requested items filter can help you to limit the data which will be downloaded from the data sharing company. So you can put some filters, for instance, for inventory posting groups, item number or item category code. Then these filters will be included in the API call, and you'll get less records downloaded to your company. So you can limit number of the items which will be downloaded, For instance, if you would like on this example, you'd like to get just the finished goods, not maybe raw materials, then you can put the filter and you will not get all the items from your partner, from the data sharing company, but just the finished goods. So that will also download less record will be inserted in the item availability overview page where you'll see the full stock information. Moreover, we has introduced a new structure, ICI stock keeping unit. This structure is used in a data sharing company. It's pre-calculated inventory and availability data. So the structure is very similar to the standard stock keeping units. However, it has just the information about the inventory flow fields, about the availability and so on. So all the fields which are available on the stock keeping units, the flow fields, they are available also here. This table is automatically updated when you create or delete a new item or item variant, or when you're enabling the location from the ICI availability. The system creates for all items variants combination for the specific locations, the ICI stock keeping units. Why is it for? Is it for the communication to make it faster? Because in the old solution, or maybe the still current solution, it's the optional way of the communication. I'll tell more about it soon. The data were calculated when sending the web service request. So system was creating the temporary table and then it was getting the table. The stock keeping unit structure is for having the data already calculated and avoiding calculating them during the web service call. So this is the technical table. You won't use it unless you upgrade or update your Intercompany Insights application at your customer. However, I'm just mentioning about it that such the structure is available and it's used for the communication purposes. Okay, then what I was mentioning before is the new connection communication method. So we have introduced a new field on the ICI endpoint card. It's called connection. The default value for this field currently is the web service. And this connection method via web service is using the API page pattern for the communication. So ICI stock keeping units are exposed as the API endpoint, which is used for this type of the communication to get the data to the data requesting company. So using the API page has increased the performance of getting the full stock information. So getting it improved getting any data, but the full stock information is the longest, of course, query. So the gain there is the biggest. So on the other hand, the old connection method has been set as the OData legacy, and this communication method will be removed in BC27. So you will start getting the notification that you're in your current installations, or maybe you already started because it was released some time ago, that the ICI endpoint is currently a legacy connection method and it will be removed in the future. So our plan is to delete this connection method in BC27, and our recommendation is to switch as soon as possible to the web services. Yes, the new web service connection, it will not be changed automatically for your installations. You would need to change the settings by your own. However, for new endpoint configuration, it is the default option set. And actually, why we decided to rebuild the communication in the Intercompany Insights application. There were few reasons for that. These are the most important. The first of all, I already mentioned that the data are already pre-calculated. So the data we are going to get, they are already calculated on the other side in the data sharing company, and we are just downloading them. In the old legacy method, the data for the availability information, they were calculated during the web service call. So there was a temporary table where the data were put, and then it was downloaded to the data requesting company. So it actually affected the performance, and in our opinion, that was slower and worse solution. That's why we switched to the API. The second, also equally important in my opinion, is that with the new web service API connection method, you can get the exact number of the records. We have introduced in the ICI setup the field called package size, where you can decide how many records in the single web service call should be downloaded. And this parameter actually solves the timeout issue, which used to happen when you had a lot of items, a lot of inventory data for some installations. Because in the old data legacy communication method, it was not possible to get the exact number of records. It was not possible because we just had the field number of items in the message package, which I mentioned before that it will be obsolete and deleted, where you could tell the system, okay, get me the inventory data for 300 items. But when you're asking for the data for 300 items, you don't know how many records will be downloaded, because for this 300 items, you might have 10,000 records to download. So it was not possible to get this exact number. You needed to play with the package size parameter. Sometimes in case of the on-prem solutions, you need to play with the timeout settings on the service itself. And the communication was very vulnerable on the web service timeouts. So with new communication method, web service API, we believe we solved completely the timeout issue. And last but not least, it's much better performance. So according to our tests, we get about 80% better performance in the new API connection method. So it's very big boost to the time of getting the inventory data, especially if we are talking about the full stock update, because a lot of you are not only updating the inventory information from the documents or journals, right? But your customers want to have the full stock refreshed periodically. So that's huge performance gain in this process. Some data for this, we were testing how the performance gain is growing or changes actually, but at the end growing with number of records. So if we get 10,000 records, we have reduced the time of getting the data from 1 minute to just a few seconds. If you are talking about 500,000 of records, it's not 1 hour, 10 minutes, but just 10 minutes. So as you can see on the chart, the more records you have, the better performance gain we have. So we are testing on different package sizes, and these are the results. With this testing, we also have found, I'm not sure if it's fully optimal, but for sure stable and acceptable package size, because the package size is now the field on the endpoint. I will show you later on, where you can decide how many records you want to get from the partner. And this package size was the default value of this package size is 5,000 records per web service call, and it's kind of the trade-off between the time of getting the data and number of the web service calls. So we think it's optimal, and we recommend starting with 5,000, which is a default value. Okay, how to switch to the new connection method? Because it's not an issue when you just start the implementation of the Intercompany Insights, but what should we do if we already have customers using the legacy method? It's not obsoleted yet, so using the legacy method. It's very simple. Just 2 steps are required. First of all, we need to generate the ICI stock keeping units, because they will be updated and created automatically when you install the new version of the app. However, if you already were using the application, you would need to update this this data. So there is a function create ICI stock keeping units, and that will generate the stock keeping units for you. We didn't want it to do this during the upgrade process. We could, but we didn't want it to do this because it could affect everyone, and it could make it longer. So we just wanted this to be a decision of the admin that stock keeping unit will be generated. And the second thing you need to do is to update the web service address on the ICI endpoint card. You can copy it from the ICI setup now, as I mentioned, from the current company API endpoint field. So it's just a copy and paste operation from the data sharing companies to the endpoints. Don't worry, it's this information is available in our documentation on docs. So there is an article how to switch to API. So you can always refer to this, come back to this. If you notice that something is missing, or maybe something is not clear, I hope it will be clear. Anyway, you can just always let us know on the service desk, and we'll update this documentation as well. So here's also the link to the documentation. Okay, with the changes for the communication and the API communication, we also introduced 2 fields to the API communication. These are the item category code and inventory posting group. This field has been also added to the item availability overview page. So as you can see here, so you'll see what's the item category. You can start filtering on these fields, and we also added a quick filters. So previously you needed to open a filter pane and put the filters if you wanted to search for the specific item or group of items or the endpoint. Right now you have just quick filters available on the top of the page where you can very easily put the filters and limit the view of the availability data, or also limit the request, right? Because if you put some filters here, you press action update item availability, then the records here, only the records filter will be updated. So it's not only for the filtering the view, but also filtering the request. Okay, next action we have added in a ICI availability overview page is create intercompany purchase order. So very simple action where you can just mark on an ICI availability overview a couple of the records. The only requirement is that these records must be marked for the same endpoint, because this is for the endpoint, for the specific endpoint, we want to create a PO. And then system opens a simple worksheet where you have the vendor number, some dates, document date, and posting date, aggregated item numbers from the selected lines, information about the variant code, and you can put the quantity you want to order. And then once you fill in the quantity, you can just use the action create purchase order, and system as the result will create the intercompany purchase order. There is no dependency of our advanced intercompany application, because basically when you create the order, during the validation of the vendor number, the IIC document field will be marked on the purchase order document. So without any dependency, we prepared a simple tool which can support you with creation of the purchase order. So you can see where the stock is available, on which endpoint, which partner of yours, and then you can decide what should be ordered. This function will work also if you don't have the advanced intercompany application. It will just validate maybe from the standard Business Central. If you use the standard Business Central intercompany, then it will validate the vendor number. It will get the IC partner code, and it will work actually the same way. So it will create the intercompany purchase order. What's next? Again, a new structure we have introduced is the ICI request log entries. Previously, when you were using the application, there were no log of what has been called, how many records, what was the request type, and so on. I mean, you could schedule a job queue to automatically get the inventory data and track the errors on the job queue level, but it didn't have the dedicated log. So now it has. It's called ICI request log entries. You can see there the status of the specific request. So if we called for the full stock information, then for each web service call, you will see what was the request URL. So what endpoint we're trying to reach, what was the request type, if it was item availability or customer balance. In the future, it's not implemented yet on the customer balance, as far as I remember, but we will. The filters which were applied during the stock update, and also number of records in each web service call which has been downloaded, when it happened. If there is an error message, you'll see this on a specific entry. So for each web service call, the history of the calls is registered here in ICI request log entries. So it's easier for troubleshooting. If you have some issues with setting up the connection or for getting the data, you can always come back here and see the details of specific request. For this request log, we added 2 actions because it will be growing. It will be growing in the future. So just to take care of the size of the database and the number of records in the table, you have 2 options here: delete all entries, or the similar function like is available on the job queue entries, delete entries older than 7 days. So such 2 actions you have available to clean this this log. And these are actions for the manual use. What you can also do is to set up the retention policies, or actually its retention policy is automatically created when you're installing the app. It's enabled by default, and by default we are setting up the retention period to 1 week. If needed, it can be adjusted. So please be aware of that each 1 week we have such retention policy set up by default. If you want to switch it off, you can do this, and if you want to change it, you can also adjust it here in the retention policies. So you don't need to clean the records in the ICI request log entry table manually. And that was it. If we are talking about the functionalities, so we focused mainly on user interface of make it easier and more intuitive, and or on changing the communication method. So basically the technical part which is not visible that much, but at the end it provides performance gain and also making the solution more stable. And what is planned? What is planned? So currently we are in process of providing another communication method, which is the database communication. Same way like we introduced in the master data management system, because currently what you need to do to test our solution, to present our solution to the customer, you always need to configure Microsoft Entra on Azure portal. You need to create the new app registration. Sometimes the consultants doesn't know that part. Sometimes in the company there is a separate IT department who's doing that to make the process of implementation, demonstration, and testing easier. We will introduce also the database communication. So when you would like to make a demo for your customer, you'll just be able just to set up a couple of the companies in the same environment, same database, and on the ICI endpoint card, you'll be able to set up the company directly from the list. Choose the company from the list from which the data should be downloaded. We are also working on getting the load details. So on the customer balance overview, you have the possibility to check the details of how this balance is built. So getting the information about the all invoices of the customer, about the credit memos of the specific customer, and the similar functionality we want to deliver on the item availability overview page. Some of you asked for this, so such a feature will be implemented. Is currently in the process. We have the initial design, and the development will start hopefully soon. So in the load details, you'll be able to see what are the lot numbers, what is the serial number, what is the expiration date, if the lot is blocked or not. So that information which will make this app more useful also for other industries when the lot tracing is crucial. And also auto update of the item availability on the documents. We already have the prototype of this functionality. So whenever you access the purchase order or sales order or any actually document where the stock information can be downloaded, you need to hit this update availability data action to get the current information. So what we would like to implement is when you're accessing this document card, this inventory availability data will be automatically refreshed. So you don't need to hit this this action. It will be automatically executed when you access the document. So that's our goal. What's planned else? What else is planned? The training videos. Like in a master data management system, or actually all of our team's applications, so master data management system, advanced intercompany insights, bonuses and accruals, we will be updating the current training videos. And because new functionalities has been implemented, Business Central changed itself as well. Some new features was developed. So we will refresh the current training videos, add more training videos. So onboarding for the new partners or getting the knowledge for you, refreshing the knowledge for you will be easier. These training videos will be linked in the documentation. So if you go to the documentation and search for the specific aspect of the system, of the specific settings, documentation is more technical. It describes field by field what they do. And for each part of the documentation, there will be also the link to the training video. Moreover, we will introduce these training videos with the specific order, because currently they are just placed randomly, and some of you also was notifying us that it's not clear in which order they should be watched, and that's true. Actually, if I don't know our solutions, I will also have the problem with finding out what should be the order of watching them. So we will put a playlist on YouTube where the order will be suggested. So you will be actually guided step by step what should be watched after what, just to fully configure and fully understand our solution. And the same or similar way we'll do on our global integration apps. Because current videos you have available on the globalintegrationapps.com or on a YouTube channel of IT Integra. There are also videos available. So we'll inform you also when these videos will be available. And I think last but not least, complete training plan. So also for each app, we are currently working on a training plans. So training plans which will cover the whole functionality of the solution. So all training, all settings, all processes which are described, explained during such a training. We already had some internal sessions, in IT Integra with testing this training, and such a full training for the Intercompany Insights application with explanation of the trainer of the different functionalities, and also some exercises for the users. It takes about 3 hours. So in case of the Intercompany Insights, it's not a big solution. It's a rather supplementary app from the global integration apps for the whole family of the apps for the global customers, for the groups of companies. So 3 hours, that's time needed for, according to us, for the full training with the exercises. Of course, this time also could be limited if we don't do any exercises. However, they are quick, so I think everyone could afford on this. And these trainings we will use, IT Integro will use to train our partners, and we will also share these trainings with you, so you, our partners, could train your customers, or maybe some of your consultants as well. So if you have some experienced already people with our applications, we'll just give you the materials which you can use also internally to pass the knowledge to other employees, or we can provide you also such a training. So that's our goal, because we believe that the product itself is not just the application. Application, of course, is very important, it's the core, but to the product, we also count the training materials, training videos, documentation, the marketing materials. So everything which makes easier for you to distribute our products among your customers. So we put also an effort in this area to make it better quality. Okay, and that's it actually for today. So today we fully focus on the Intercompany Insights, because that was also the main focus for us recently in the intercompany applications. For the advanced intercompany, we didn't deliver that much that we could share with you. We'll be focusing on advanced intercompany more for the following months. So probably on the next What's New and Planned webinar, there will be more about advanced intercompany than Intercompany Insights. I don't see any questions. If you have, you can always contact us on the service desk, or write an email to me directly. And thank you for your attention today. Have a good day.